Hot though it may be and Monday though it may be, we have a really entertaining guest for you to meet, and a special occasion to tell about too. Please meet our guest. To the right of your screen is Frank Raines. He's a Scout executive from Tupelo, Mississippi, and he specializes and has for many years in what we call simultaneous speech. And with him, and actually responsible for bringing him here to visit with us, is Porter McKinney. He is the Gadsden cable operator, and we welcome you. Happy to have you both. And I'm not sure who to start with. I tell you what, Porter, why don't you tell us just a little bit about why Frank is here, because once I start talking to him, I'm not going to make it.
Well, first of all, Amy, we'd like to thank you on behalf of Group W and Bill for inviting us over today for your program. And I'm not the cable operator. I'm the general manager and the chaplain and the janitor and anything else that needs to be done at Group W. I do that. Our main purpose is to
Chief cook and bottle washer.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. But our main purpose to bring Frank back to Gadsden, and I've grown quite fond of him in the last couple of weeks. But we are turning on some new services in 138 miles of our system, which consists of 350 miles, but we don't have it already yet. But it'll be turned on in front of about 8,100 homes, and it consists of downtown Gadsden, the mountain section in Glencoe, and what we call West Gadsden. And by the way, that's where I was raised, in West Gadsden. But Broad Street, we left Broad Street 3 or 4 years ago, and we had a lot of traffic up on Broad Street, and we call ourselves Gadsden, Glencoe, and Rainbow City's #1 in family entertainment center. And really, that's what we think we are. And we are opening up the Group W Family Entertainment Center at 322 Broad Street. And that's on the corner of 4th and Broad, and it happened to be the mayor's former campaign headquarters.
Oh, how convenient.
So, you know,
everybody knows where that is.
Right.
Surely.
So we're bringing up, we have 9 TVs set up. We've got a package for just about all of our subscribers. We've got a budget package, and we have a variety package and an entertainment package. And the entertainment package has the whole ball of wax.
And what you want is for people to come by tomorrow.
We want them to come by tomorrow and see what we have to offer, and have fun with Frank. And I think I've really said enough, and let's listen to Frank.
Is this all day long?
All day long tomorrow.
Okay.
Yes.
Frank, here we go.
Well, I enjoy the opportunity of being down with you, Mimi. It's kind of like a little home place for me. You know, I went to school at Jacksonville University over here, and some fond memories are associated with Anniston, and some friends. I believe I asked you earlier about Mr. Carroll with Carroll's Jewelers. I hope you go by and see him today. Maybe if he's watching, he can look for me to try to find him this afternoon. But being a Sand Mountain boy and coming from this area, there's a lot of people here that I've met in times past, and hopefully we'll have an opportunity to chat with again. We have. I'm going to be there from about 9:30 or 10 till about 3 tomorrow, and hopefully demonstrate this unique gift of simultaneous speech that we were talking about. And you felt like I might get started on you. I haven't yet, but
I'm waiting. I'm waiting. Here we go. This, you know, it's disconcerting because when you talk to someone, you can't keep your mind. Yeah, you can't keep your mind on what you're trying to say.
That's right.
That's it. All right.
And the shocked look on people's faces is really where the humor part comes in.
Drives them up the wall.
I do a comedy act, and working with comedy and audience participation, bringing someone to see their shocked look is what creates laughter. And hopefully there'll be a lot of people that'll come by.
Of course. How long have you been doing this?
Been doing it for 35 years. I discovered it some 35 years ago, and began doing national television in '54. And as I said, here at Jacksonville, I remember I went to the Gary Moore show in December of '54, and then in February of '55, well, President Cole turned the college out for the second appearance, and we went down to Chatham Inn and the Grab, and I understand they had television set up for people to see it. So it began then, and I've made some 60-odd national television programs.
I remember seeing someone who did this, and of course didn't really pay attention to name, and little did it ever occur to me that I would be meeting you now, because are you unique? Is there anyone else that does this?
I have made contact with two people that I know of through friends having told me of having seen them on television. It dates back in maybe in the latter 50s. There was a gentleman that Gary Moore had in the audience to play a trick on me. This was after I'd been with him several times, and they had him come up, and it tipped me off because the day before that I was in Gary's office, I told him I had heard of people tell me that someone else did this that they had seen on television. And so the day that we used audience participation, it came out that this gentleman came up and Gary asked him what his name was, but he started to call him by his first name before he was introduced. And so I thought then that he had...
How did he happen to know his name?
Yeah, I wondered. It all flashed in my mind as to... It related back to the conversation I'd had the day before, so that really wasn't true. It was planned from the beginning, even before that, but the fact that I brought it up made me think that he'd gone out and got a ringer that was going to pull it on me, you see.
People tried
to... Go ahead.
People tried to trick you.
Oh, yes. That's part of it, I guess.
Do they try to talk too fast?
Well, I only claim to speak as distinctly as the person that speaks, and sometimes if the person mumbles, I'll be mumble.
You mean if I'm hearing you, I'm hearing myself. Okay.
Do you do this in foreign
language? Do it in any language, Bill.
I
remember you did this to Gary Moore, his telephone. That's right. The first time I was in Coach Professor Sauls, who was at, I was in Jacksonville the first time that it came about. Don Sauls set up an interview by phone, writing them first, and a lady by the name of Marcia Durant was in her office, and Gary was in his office, and then Coach Sauls was in the dean's office, and I was in another office. So I carried the conversation of all three of them on the telephone, and that was what said, hey, we want this guy to come up. So I went up during the Christmas holidays of 1954, and I've had the good pleasure since then of being with Jonathan Winters and Mike Douglas and Jerry Lewis and Johnny Carson and Jack Parr and Virginia Graham and Bob Barker and Mickey Rooney. I could just go on, and people are people. They still have that, they're bumfuzzled by having someone say the same thing at the same time.
Now, you're a Boy Scout executive now, but at one time you were doing this full-time, weren't you?
Yes. I chose to leave the full-time professional ranks in 1960. From 53 until 60, I was performing. And in 1960, I went with the Boy Scouts of America as an executive in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And I feel very strongly about that movement, and that's priority in my life. And I've given my life's work to that, and I've been very happy for 23 years with that movement. And it's very unusual that I do have the time, and being that I had some vacation time and Porter asked of me to come down, I thought, well, hey, this is a great opportunity for me to meet friends that I haven't seen for years. And it seemed like every time we get a conversation going, they're always kind of related distantly somewhere, I was up at my uncle's office. He's the district manager with Liberty National Life today, and in his office. And
here in Anniston?
In Gadsden.
In Gadsden.
Sorry.
Okay.
I've got to place myself.
Well, we're so close together.
James Gardner is his name, and while we were standing at the counter, one of the men came in to, I guess, pay his bill, and so he introduced me to him, and he said, I know you, and he started talking about how he worked with my uncle of my father's side, Montgomery Rains, and so we just, being around Sand Mountain people, of course, we figured Gadsden is almost like Sand Mountain. It's close enough.
Pretty close at hand. We want to come back and talk more to our guest in just a moment. We have as our guest today Frank Rains, a Scout executive from Tupelo, Mississippi, who has what I think is an unusual gift, to be able to talk at the very same moment as someone else does. And then Porter McKinney, who is from Gadsden, and he is with Group W Cable. Is that the proper name for that, Porter? And he's having an opening house tomorrow, which we'll learn more about it here in just a minute. Did I said you do that at the exact moment? Am I off a second?
Well, I don't claim to be off. I think that in the listening ear of one listening, they hear us both at the same time. And as I indicated earlier, it's not a lip-reading effect. Porter, I'm looking over toward Bill and Mimi. If you'd like to say a few words about the organization or what, just go ahead.
Well, actually, Bill, I think you as bombarded you like he has all of us, but he is a fantastic character. And this is the purpose of our visit over here, and the phone number is BR 547-6821. Is that the number you call?
Somewhere along
The main thing we want people to do is come down to 322 Broad Street, our Group W Family Entertainment Center, and take on this character here, because he'll drive you up the wall.
That's right. That's what we want.
He's about ready to walk.
He's going the other way. He's already got me.
Where are you going
He's
for?
already got my mind buzzed.
Ready to take off.
While you're in this routine, why don't you get your hat over here and...
Well, I was just telling you, I do a comedy act, and it's a little more difficult to try to get into something if you don't have a live audience. But I thought maybe I might.
You're live. You're right here.
What did you do with that red
We're going to have this. I've got
What did you do with that red
my
man
red
you
man's
had
in
a
my
while
pocket. I'll have to. Let me just set this stage here, and if I work off this camera when I get ready, I'm going to stand up. And in my floor shows, I do some stand-up comedy, one-liners, drunk routines, and so forth. And so I'll just kind of get into the part of my back. It says, I was walking down the street the other day, and I wasn't feeling a bit of pain, you know, and I fell across the street over there. He said, "Oh, what is that, Frankie?" I said, "What is that, bud?" He said, "I thought you didn't drink no more." I said, "Man, I don't drink no more. I don't drink no less, but I don't drink no more. I don't drink no stronger than pop." And that son was going to drink anything. And my wife been giving me a hard time, so I thought I'd take her out and show her what it's all about. I said, "Have a little sip of that." She said, "I don't want to have a little sip." I said, "Go ahead and have a little." She said, "I don't want it." I said, "Take it." She said, "That tastes awful." I said, "See that? And you think I'm out having a good time all night." She went home and got a sheet and drove over and got behind a bush, and I come in and she jumped out and said, "Boo!" I says, "Boo." She said, "Aren't you afraid?" I said, "No, why should I be afraid?" Said, "Don't you know who I am?" I said, "No, who are you?" She said, "I'm the devil." I said, "Glad to meet you. I married your sister." Oh,
those are wonderful.
How much of your time these days does this occupy?
I try to schedule it when I've been asked that it doesn't take long to do a national TV show. Most everything comes out of California now. Not very much is live or taped comic-wise, except another network program, with Dave Letterman. It's out of New York, but I used to do shows on the West Coast where I could leave Tupelo, Mississippi at 7 o'clock in the morning and be in L.A. and do a program and back and be home at 12 o'clock that night. So
Good grief.
that doesn't take a whole lot of time. Do a couple of those a year, and then I guess on weekends and vacation time I probably accept some 8 or 10 conventions, something of that nature.
What about the boys? The Boy Scouts, do they get a chance to benefit from this wonderful person that's
Well,
working
actually,
for them?
they don't. But the reason they don't is that
Do they know? They know that you do this, though, surely.
no, some probably do, but basically in scouting, in the professional movement of scouting, we as administrators and executives work with the adult volunteers in preparing them for their responsibilities and in recruiting and motivating and selling institutions on using the program. And the primary need of it, of course, is in building of character and citizenship, and I feel that that this is one of the things that we have to be concerned with the young people, and giving them a program that's enjoyable, entertaining, exciting, but at the same time continuing to have them participating in something that's repetitive and becomes habitual, and then when they learn to say the Scout Oath and Law of "On my honor, I'll do my best to do my duty to God and my country," then they learn that to really mean something to them. And so I project a different image in dealing with the administrative end of scouting, and I feel very blessed that the Lord has given me opportunities to not only bring some laughter to people, but I think very highly of my administrative abilities also. And so I do not let the two of them mix. I'm kind of a split personality, and I do not do performing for scouting, but I do take the opportunity to do some scouting when I'm performing.
Oh, that's good. Just like just now.
Let's get back to your opening is tomorrow, and what hours?
Tomorrow at 9:30. Our mayor is out of town, and his secretary, Karen Brooks, will cut the ribbon at the store at 9:30 tomorrow, and Frank will be there pretty well all day tomorrow. We'll have cold drinks for people, and the weather's been pretty hot over there, so
Have lots
I'll
of cold
probably be
drinks.
there with my red man and my spittoon, and
Oh, good.
he had one coming over and put it out before he
Have a
came
little
in.
contest.
I will say this, excuse me for interrupting, but I think that one of his technicians, I have a library of some film of videotapes, 3/4 inch, that of several of the programs that I've been on, when the celebrities that I've worked with, and I brought some of those along thinking that I could give a little behind-the-scenes explanation of taping and how it goes about, and they would be able to see some of the programs that I've done. That is not going to be a primary thing. I'm just saying it's there in case we decide to look at it.